Hey, Rumble World Entertainment, and things are heating up with the Netflix, Paramount, and of course Warner Brothers deal. We're not looking at that part of this whole thing. What we're looking at is what Netflix are now considering worthless in terms of what they're getting with Warner Brothers, should that deal ever actually go through. And at this stage, it's starting to look highly unlikely. And the main thing they seem to be focusing on that's saying it's worthless to them is Warner Brothers gaming. So Netflix, don't forget, they did come out and say, oh, we're so committed to theatrical stuff, home release stuff, and gaming. They did say gaming, but there's also doubt regarding James Gunn's DCU being thrown in this mix as well. Mainly because they didn't particularly mention him. You'll see what I mean. But the fact that they're talking about the Warner Brother gaming division being worthless compared to their own attempt, which is a mobile game for Rebel Moon, which was a disaster. I think they've even gotten rid of it now. But let's dive into this, because if this is the case, then already you're seeing them backtrack on stuff they've already said, which is obvious to try and convince people that, oh no, we're the best solution for Warner Brothers, trust us. So it's saying here, Netflix's takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery keeps revealing more about what the streamer actually values and what it doesn't. Many believe Netflix will eventually scale back its theatrical releases, if not abandon them altogether, which would be disastrous for cinemas. Now there's also the question of whether Netflix viewed Warner Brothers games as essentially worthless, as reports indicate the company assigned little to no value to the division during its bid. And that dismissive attitude may extend even further, because Netflix didn't mention James Gunn or the DCU at all when outlining what excited them about their new DC properties. Warner Brother games include some of the biggest console franchises in the industry, from Mortal Kombat to Batman Arkham titles to Hogwarts Legacy. Yet, Netflix's leadership publicly downplayed the division while explaining the acquisition, describing it as relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. Kotaku, of all places, highlighted how strange it was to treat a slate of proven best-selling franchises like they barely register. It raises questions about whether Netflix intends to support AAA game development or pivot the studios towards cheaper mobile-style output, which notably haven't been a success at Netflix. Because, of course, the only game I think they released was the Rebel Moon game, and nobody even bloody knew about it. So people were shocked when they went, wait, what the hell? There's a game to Rebel Moon? And then they were like, where is it? How do you find it? And then it turns out you have to go on to the Netflix app and download the gaming section and all this crap. So, yeah. So, interestingly enough, during Netflix's presentation, CEO Ted Sarandos highlighted Matt Reeves' Penguin series as a major DC asset heading to Netflix's platform. But he didn't mention Gunn, the DCU slate, or any upcoming DCU movies or TV shows. The silence stands out because if Netflix truly saw massive value in the DCU, it would have been front and center. Instead, the only DC project signaled out was Penguin, which sits outside Gunn's continuity. As a result, following Netflix winning the Warner Brothers bid, both Gunn and DCU co-head Peter Safran ran to Bloomberg in what looked like a desperate attempt to save their jobs. Adding fuel to the speculation that Gunn's DCU is in trouble is the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav only extended Gunn and Safran's contracts by 6 months, which lines up with when the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery is set to go through to Netflix. That suggests Netflix will be deciding the fate of the DCU, assuming Netflix's deal goes through. And of course, we know that this whole deal right now may not actually happen. In fact, Paramount have launched their counter-strike. They've gone straight to the shareholders. Warner Brothers now has to actually respond to all that blah, blah, blah. The fact that, yeah, look, I'm not putting much into the whole, oh, they didn't mention James Gunn and stuff, because we still have a crap ton of James Gunn stuff to come. We still have Supergirl to come. We still have Clayface to come. Lanterns to come. Man of Tomorrow to come. So it's not like they're just going to get rid of all of that stuff because it's slated. It's there and it's going to be happening. And of course, he will be filming Man of Tomorrow well before any deal, whether it's to Paramount, whether it's to Netflix, it will be made. We've all said, we'll say it again, that yeah, his future probably hinges on the success or failure of Man of Tomorrow. But the game section, the fact that they did highlight that one of the key things for them was games. They said theatrical, TV, and gaming. To now turn around and say, yeah, the actual Warner Brothers gaming is pretty worthless to us. And it's like, oh, so big games, like they've said, like the Arkham games, Hogwarts Legacy, which of course the boycott was put in. Well, the attempted boycott, which fell flat in its face because it ended up being the best-selling game of that year. The likes of Mortal Kombat, and there's so many more games that are out there. The fact that Netflix is looking at them saying, yeah, it's pretty worthless. It literally brought in billions of dollars year in and year out. What are you talking about? It's worthless. As opposed to our attempt at gaming with a Rebel Moon game for, you know, a mobile game based on a movie that nobody liked, that was such a disaster, we've ended up cancelling every project from Zack Snyder. And yeah, we're going to say this division is better off than that gaming division. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And yeah, people to this day are still crying out for more Arkham games. Not what they've recently done. Not the likes of the Arkham, what was it, the Gotham Knights and stuff like that. No, they want the actual Arkham games. Of course, how would you really do it nowadays without Kevin Conroy as the voice of Batman and Bruce Wayne? But there's obviously ways around it. But the fact that, yeah, that gaming division has been huge for Warner Brothers. Yeah, they've had absolute colossal failures like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League and stuff like that. That's because they took in the influence of Sweet Baby Inc. and dipshits like that. But yeah, you can't deny Mortal Kombat, Batman Arkham titles, and of course Hogwarts Legacy, which they are meant to be doing a sequel to, I do believe. Yeah, to try and say all of that is worthless, that is crazy. And I think that could also throw a spanner into the works. Now that Paramount have come in with this, you know, the same offer, but they've brought it directly to the shareholders to show them, hey, look, your boss has basically accepted a lower offer across the board. You know, we offered $108 billion. They accepted $82 billion. We offered $30 per share. They accepted $28 a share. You're getting screwed over here. Now they can bring in, by the way, look, Netflix thinks the gaming end of things, where you've made billions through the likes of the games we've listed here, are worthless and will get rid of. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think it's a crazy take all in all. So we'll wait and see what comes of this. But what do you guys think? Do you think Netflix is right that the gaming division of Warner Brothers is worthless when they've put out such fantastic titles like Mortal Kombat all the way up to the Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah, again, there's a few stinkers in there, but you can't deny what's already been there. What do you think overall? And do you have any feelings about the whole James Gunn not being mentioned, or do you think that's just being read too much into? Personally, I think it's been read too much into, but let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.